Starting with a flashback. Scratch, Grounder, and Mario clearly weren't behind the door as it was pushed open. Why did I purposely edit them out if they were supposed to be there anyway? While the masking on Cortex here looks better than in Five Nights at Foster's, it's still pretty bad. This sin timer is wrong in two different ways. It's a little ahead of the actual time, and it's usually hours, minutes, seconds, not minutes, seconds, nanoseconds, or whatever this repeating pattern is supposed to represent. Then again, it'd be hard to find a CinemaSins-esque video longer than an hour. Either way, 2 sins. 1 sin for the overuse of minions in this entire poop. 1 minute and 10 seconds before the main video starts. That beats Crustacean. New record! This very vague time card is because I didn't know how long the video would take to finish. Turns out 9 months. Cortex's hair is incredibly difficult to mask, and yet I still chose to reuse this animation multiple times throughout the video. Badly chroma keyed background.
Well, I don't care.
I think Cortex's words perfectly summed up that shot.
It's probably for you.
Who else would it be for?
Are you ready to Mario time? What?
Robotnik should be able to hear Mario's real, non-distorted voice from right behind him.
It's gonna be Eeyore.
Eeyore takes up the whole screen here because I was too lazy to lip-sync Mario Head correctly. Crash doesn't have a flat-screen TV outside. Okay, it's going to be hard to nitpick some of the more illogical things since it is a YTP and thus a lot of it doesn't make sense, but it would have made more sense for Aku Aku to realise what was going on based on the Volcano Moon scenario that's about to take place. Scooby is missing his butt and tail because the shot I cut him out of had them off frame. He's also behind Uka Uka instead of in front of him.
Was that sarcasm?
No.
Sarcasm self-test complete.
That won't be the last obscure Portal reference. Odd considering I've never played the games. Thinking about it now, it would have been better to have Aku Aku watch the news on Coco's laptop. But hey, Coco's not part of this. However close, the moon would not be this visible underwater. Poorly cut out Michael Rosen.
And who will be in charge while you're gone?
Very lame visual gag. For a single frame, the calculator is visible through Mr. Krabs' claw.
Can't touch it.
You can touch a TNT crate, you just can't spin one. Is it racist that I assumed if Aku had human hands, they'd be black? I mean, Mel Winkler's black, and of course he did call Uka Uka his...
Evil, and they got twins.
So I guess he would be too.
Surprise, motherfucker.
I guess they've been waiting here doing nothing while Aku Aku sang his song. How did he get on his hoverboard so fast? And where did it go?
I order you to break my...
Robotnik is yelling below despite the fact Cortex and Mario Head are above him. Unless he was yelling at the ground itself. Uka Uka just kind of appears and disappears in this video. Sometimes he's just in the background as a fourth wheel, or a second, third wheel, and other times he's nowhere to be seen. Very badly cropped Uka Uka. You know, I'm going to give that 2 sins because it's just an image and it was on a single colour background.
God damn these electric sex bands!
And that's the last time we see Mr. Volcano and the Majora Moon until the very end of the poop.
Ugh, punch him in the nuts.
And my missile!
Missile and nuts are not one and the same. For one, 1 is 2, not 1. You can clearly see Crash moving behind Robotnik.
I think he's dead.
Well, yeah, they took his brain out and then it disappeared. Poorly chroma keyed and poorly lip-synced Dingo Doll head.
I've totally got some embryos, totally cool steroid formula. With it, I can totally create the most totally powerful mutants ever. And one's totally under my total control.
The minions would obey you without any kind of formula. It's in their nature to be, well, minions.
Where is that pathetic boy?
His tracker is obviously somewhat delayed. Also, I don't know how he's supposed to get anything about Mario's whereabouts just from a blinking outline of him. I mean, where is Mr. Krabs based on this?
And so I've
Recruited a few extra
Minions.
to hell construct a robot.
It's explained how he recruited the Penguins and Mon Clutch, but the evil twins were clearly against him in that earlier scene.
That's mein Chucky Pack mess for cheeks.
In hindsight, these two should be switched, meaning the audience looks at me, confused, and I just shrug because I don't know either. This joke itself confused some people, so I guess that makes it somewhat accurate. Robotnik teleports without his lower body. Also, Robotnik can teleport, yet he never does again. If Cortex put a vending machine in his iceberg lab, I guess it would make sense to fill it with bombs, but why crystals and gems? They're pretty scarce in the Crash universe. Earlier, Dingo Doll was using crystals as currency to buy pizza, yet you can also buy crystals. As a number of you have pointed out, this is not Mr. Krabs' millionth dollar. It's an ordinary dollar that's been soaked in coral, torn up in a lagoon, and kissed with the lagoon, and crumpled with semi-dollar blue clam lagoon and me millionth number gloss slightly Squidward. Man, that was difficult to say. Wilhelm scream. He has no throat.
Here's your stupid
drink.
Oh, sorry, I got the sword there.
That one's hardly a pwn, that's just being an impatient jerk.
Can't you see I'm working here? Cortex! Stupid animatronic bitch!
Clearly that was Uka Uka's fault for talking while Cortex was trying to listen out for breathing.
Cortex? Who is this evil head?
Uka Uka constantly switches between his Brown, Fernandez and DiMaggio voices. If this were real life, the text would keep saying Nasty Israel until Lord Minion bothered to slow down and retype it. Everyone survives this. Well, except for Apple Bloom. That was an outright lie.
Who says a penguin can't fly?
I don't know what caused that second explosion.
Without it, we're stranded!
You're not. Robotnik's got a teleporter.
I love trains!
The train wasn't showing any signs of stopping, so how did they catch up to it?
This train is for circumcised cannibals only.
But I don't got no tingles.
This is the missile and nuts thing again. Is he just wearing that to spite the Jewish characters? The text above reads sample text, and yet if you look at either portal you can see it still says Toad Village. Also, it doesn't need to be said that you can't stand on a portal. Why does Stu need binoculars? He's close enough to see it.
Are you selling drugs, mister?
Of course not!
My name is Markiplier.
Why is he all shifty? He's sat at a restaurant, of course he's not selling drugs. Grounder was in pieces and Scratch's head was on a pike. Who rebuilt them, and when? Wilhelm scream. That pit was full of fire a few seconds ago. So, can Mario Head teleport at will too? In one shot, the train is at the very edge, and yet here it's still approaching it. Yet again, no one did. That's gotta be a ridiculously big hatch if it can fit an entire train inside. Even if the penguins did manage to fix the airship in that amount of time, there's no way they caught up to the train going at that speed. And the fact that they did rendered this scene pointless. It's now night.
Good thing I'm not wearing pants, because I shit myself.
You are wearing pants. I know pants means different things in different countries, but Crash is Australian. He would call that dark blue clothing on his legs pants. Are they shooting at Crash because they think he attempted suicide and that's illegal? I can believe that. What I can't believe is that these sunglasses took that long to fall. This life icon is too far to the left and then jumps back into the corner.
No, people.
Cortex, you punched Tiny 5 times in the face earlier, yet you object to this? Where did Engine come from? In fact, where did half of these characters come from, and how did Cortex get them all to help build this thing? This video of Crash is playing behind Grounder, behind Engine, but in front of Engine's right arm. Wilhelm scream. This is the same umbrella Engine was using for I don't want to know what, and the same one Robotnik hits Cortex with later on. But why is it here? I don't recall it raining at any point.
I see.
Why does he still have that?
No gayness for reals.
Oh shit!
You can hear footsteps, and yet Robotnik is standing still in this shot.
Why did he turn backwards 270 degrees instead of the easier 90 this way?
He is a far more dangerous enemy than anyone can imagine.
Mario had set up to be this diabolical creature, yet all he does is make jokes at Robotnik's expense, and Mr. Krabs defeats him pretty easily in the end. Use of myself in my own video quota? Filled.
Where to go?
That robot!
How does this tracker work? It seems to say to me that Mario Head is northeast of you, and yet you seem to think he's inside the Doominator.
Seems like yesterday.
This is what, the 5th flashback sequence? And there's still 3 more to go. Glaring plot hole time! Robotnik and Cortex knew each other as children. Robotnik remembers this, and Cortex doesn't. And yet back in Five Nights at Foster's, Robotnik doesn't even know Cortex, and when Cortex tells Robotnik they're twin brothers, Robotnik is visibly shocked by this. Despite all this, they can both directly recall memories from their childhood, as well as their adulthood. The only explanation I can think of is that they knew each other as friends growing up, but somehow didn't know they were brothers, despite them both knowing their mother well enough to recognize her. Sometime as adults, they forgot each other, and then Cortex found out he had a twin brother. Over the course of Mash Bandicoot, Robotnik realized who Cortex was and remembered what he did. He was then able to jog Cortex's memory too.
This is as far as I can take us.
Alright, it's canon in the Crash universe that Aku can teleport to a certain degree, but couldn't he have done that earlier? Also, just a little side note, I like to imagine there was a scene we didn't see where Aku teleported Crash out of prison, and he's still wearing his sunglasses. There wasn't, one was never planned, and I just came up with that idea now. Engine is dripping wet, obviously after taking that long walk, but in the next shot he's dry.
is the sound of a sheep laughing.
I know this is my own YTP, but I'm gonna be pretentious and take a sin off. Only for the fact that this is such an obscure reference, and to this day, I don't think anyone knows what it's from. This explosion is in Von Clutch's motor world, yet we're clearly all inside the Doominator at this point. Also, Mario Head survives this.
My $1 million! You stole it!
If that was your goal, why did you try and blow him up? I mean, it's not like you can just reach into his weird neck back and fish out his wallet.
I finally got me $1 million!
Mr. Krabs doesn't survive this.
Caught you! Coming!
Is this a flashback? Because I don't remember Robotnik being there. Although, Robotnik's probably used to Cortex getting all the luck. Adding 5 sins for this whole section leading up to Cortex's monologue being so lazily edited. Engine's back again, despite him, Scratch, and Grounder seemingly getting bowling struck out of existence. These annotations do absolutely nothing. But I guess you all know that by now.
Come on,
Robotnik can be heard saying "do it," despite having an apple in his mouth. Cortex is sat up as Crash is aiming, but he gets up from lying down after the shot is fired. There would not be anywhere near enough time for Cortex to say "what the," duck out of the way, and everyone get upset before this shot hits the power box.
What the fuck?
Unsurprisingly, everyone, or at least the main characters, survive this. Who knows what happened to all those minions? Cortex is still alive. Are they gonna eat Mr. Krabs? And what is he planning to pour that into? I don't know what this ending is supposed to even mean. It was all in Crash's mind? That's a pretty cheap ending, but who cares?
Wow, baby! It's a bit dark.
Make yourself useful, bitch, and
Bring a light?
for me.
Whoa!
Crash!
We require 6 power crystals in order to make the leap, and we have 4. Let's see. That isn't enough!
Hey everyone, thanks for watching this weird video I did. If you're gonna go into the comments and get mad like, it's copying Cinema Sins, then you have every right to, because that's exactly what I'm doing. Also, if you were expecting this to be what I was talking about when I said the video I was working on was essentially gonna be the closest you'll ever get to a Mash Bandicoot Part 3, this is not the video I was talking about. This is just a video idea I've had sitting around for a while, and I thought, why not do it now? The video I was talking about is the one on why the original Crash Bandicoot games are terrible and you're all stupid for liking them. So stay tuned for that. That should be out in the next few weeks. Probably early October sometime, I don't know. I'm not making any promises. After that though, I'm gonna start putting together the collab. Yay! Finally! I'm still gradually putting ideas together for that at the moment. Basically, I'm just gonna go a lot simpler than I originally had planned. I know I said before that I was gonna kind of base a story around the collab. I'm still gonna do that, but it will be a very bare bones story. I don't want to go all out like I did with Mash Bandicoot. And I even said this after I made Mashed in the description. And even if I did, I wouldn't be able to meet the quality of Mashed by any means. I know I just went through everything wrong with it, but it's still the best thing I've ever made, and I'm still really proud of it. So instead of trying to compete with it, I'm gonna continue trying to diversify my new videos from it so that they can stand out in a different way. And if all goes to plan, the collab will be out before 2017 is over. So thanks again for watching, and goodbye.